Hello there and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Michelle Emerson and I love helping teachers with all things technology, organization, and productivity. One of the first things I learned as a TPT seller is that creating a product to sell is very different than creating a resource just to use in your classroom. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you step by step how to create a product to sell on Teachers Pay Teachers. This is the third video in a little mini series on Teachers Pay Teachers. So if you are interested in my journey as a TPT seller, be sure to go back and check out my Teachers Pay Teachers seller story video, which I will link for you in the description box. And if you are interested in how to get started as a seller yourself, be sure to go back and check out my How to Start Selling on Teachers Pay Teachers in 5 Simple Steps video, which I will also link for you down in the description box. Today's video is going to be a very basic tutorial. Obviously, products can be very complicated if they're digital, if they're editable, but in today's video, I'm just gonna show you how to create a simple PDF printable document to sell on Teachers Pay Teachers. And before we jump into it, it is worth noting, make sure you are using a personal device and personal accounts to create the product. Do not use any school-issued devices or school-issued accounts. Step number 1 is to choose a creation platform. This is the software or website or app that you will be using to actually create the product. A few examples for you to consider: Microsoft, you could use either Word, which I don't really recommend because it's not great for layout options, or PowerPoint. With both of those, you are able to add in your own custom fonts. You also can use Google, so once again, Docs, which I don't really recommend, or Slides, but keep in mind you are not able to add in custom fonts, at least at this time. You also could consider using Adobe, either Illustrator or InDesign, but keep in mind it's a little bit more complicated of a software and it will take longer to learn, or Canva, which is a much easier software to learn, but does still allow you to add in custom fonts. Whatever creation tool you choose to use, just make sure that your plan does allow for commercial use since you are creating a product that you plan to sell. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm gonna use good old Google Slides because I feel like it's the easiest to get started on. It's the most accessible, but keep in mind these steps will apply to whatever creation tool you choose to use. Step number 2 is to create the product. So I'm gonna walk you through how to do this on Google Slides. Within my Google Drive, I'm gonna go to New and choose Google Slides, or you can just go to slides.new in your address bar. You will notice it's giving me a presentation format. Because I want this to be a document that teachers can actually print, I'm going to start by resizing it. So I'm gonna come to File, scroll down to Page Setup, click where it says widescreen, choose Custom, and obviously I can choose either portrait or landscape. Just for ease of printing, I'm gonna choose portrait style. So I want this to be 8.5 inches by 11 inches, and I'm going to click Apply. Now, I always like to start with just a blank slide, so I'm gonna actually just highlight these text boxes and delete them. So I have a nice clean slate. So I'm gonna create some birthday cup tags. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I would always create these little birthday cups to give to students that had some candy and tissue paper and a pencil, and I always had a little printable tag for them. And this is something I've actually been meaning to add to my store for a long time. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to create it. So I need some square or rectangle boxes. I can either use the shape tool to create them individually, or I could add in a table. I plan to create one tag and then just duplicate it. So I'm gonna use just the rectangle tool. So I'm gonna come here to Shape, hover over Shapes, choose the rectangle, and I'm just gonna click and drag and get kind of an approximate size. I can always go in later and change it if needed. I'm gonna change the fill to white, or I could do transparent. I'm gonna make the outline black and I'm going to thicken it. So let's make it 4 point. Yeah, that looks better. I'm gonna go ahead and use the zoom tool just so I can see it a little bit closer up. Because I am using Google Slides, I am limited to the Google font options. I'm gonna add in a text box and I'm gonna click and drag so it's the same width as the rectangle. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and type happy birthday. And I'm gonna do it in all capitals because that's kind of my style. Keep in mind as you create your resources, you want them to have a similar style. So that way when people look at it, they go, oh, I know who created that. However, you do not want to copy or mimic someone else's style or design.
My Shaolin temple style defeats your monkey style.
I'm saying that because I have a lot of people that will see my videos and use it as inspiration, but then they directly copy my design. I'm happy to be able to show you how to do these things, but make sure you put your own spin on it. Do not use the exact same design that someone else has. Just had to put that out there. I'm gonna go ahead and highlight the text, and under the font, I'm really digging Poppins lately. I like all the different options within the font family, so let's make this black, nice and thick. I'm going to center it, and I'm gonna increase the size until it kind of fills that rectangle. Yeah, let's go 2 lines. You know what, I'm feeling it. Okay. That looks good. 48 is a better number than 47. So I'm gonna put that up at the top. That looks pretty good. I can dig that. And I'm going to highlight this and use Command D because I'm using a Mac. If you're using a PC, use Control D in order to duplicate that text box. And now I'm gonna have it say, love Mrs. Emerson. And let's just move this over here so I can see it better. I want love to be in lowercase. And I'm going to change this font to, let's go light for a little variation. You know, you have the thick chunky font and then you have the thin font. We're gonna make this much smaller. Let's go size 24. That way I can put it down at the bottom. Okay, that's looking decent, good enough for now. But before I add in clip art, I want 2 of these side by side on the page. So I'm gonna click and drag. I'm going to duplicate. So again, I just hit Command D. I'm dragging it over. I'm gonna highlight all of them. So I'm using Command A in order to highlight all of them. Okay, I can kind of fit it on the page, but it's like really, really close. I want some more margin. So I'm gonna click and drag just on this one, delete that. And let's come here. I'm going to move this text box out of the way. And let's make the rectangle a little bit more narrow so that I can fit 2 of them side by side. So then I also need to adjust the text box to make it a little smaller. Let's go 44. And then this one, I'm gonna have to make shorter as well. Okay, that's fine for now. If I duplicate it and put them side by side, I have enough space. Okay, that's fine for now. I'm just gonna kind of click and move it around. So now I wanna add in some clip art. I've already added some to my downloads. I have this little balloons freebie. This was free clip art on Teachers Pay Teachers. If I open up the folder, I do wanna take a look at their terms of use so that way I can make sure that I follow it. So under educational commercial use, it tells me that I can use it for sale or free products. I just have to give credit to the designer, which I will show you how to do. So make sure you read through the terms of use before you use clip art. I'm gonna go to these colored balloons. Awesome, I really like this one. I'm gonna actually just click and drag it onto the side. I also can go into insert an image and add it in that way, but just for sake of time. I'm gonna go ahead and shrink it down and put it kind of over top. I want the balloons just to be on the side, and actually I might kind of crop the bottom, like the string. I don't need the full string. Let's go a little bit smaller. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna crop this so that it matches the side of the rectangle. Also, Billy just sneezed out in the hallway, so if you could hear him, I am so sorry. Okay, that looks good. Obviously, I need this to go behind the text, so I'm gonna right click, come to order, and choose send backward. There also are keyboard shortcuts for this. Because my rectangle is filled white, I can't see it, so I'm going to change that to transparent. Okay, that looks decent. I think I want just my name to be over here on the side, like that. I'm gonna move it up a little bit. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna move happy birthday up as well. And I almost feel like I want like a glow around the image, but that's a little bit hard to do in Google Slides. I know you can do it in PowerPoint and other things, but but I could maybe add a highlight of white. No, don't like that. This is part of it, you just play around with it. Let's right click and go to format options. Okay, I could add a drop shadow. That makes it stick out a little bit. What if I change the drop shadow to white? And let's go less transparency. And let's go a bigger blur, not quite that big. And let's go kind of a bigger distance. So see how it just kind of added like some white behind it so it sticks out a little bit? That'll work. I mean, it's not the best. Some of the other design platforms have more options in terms of text, but okay, let's say I finished getting this the way I want it to be. I'm gonna go ahead and click and drag in order to highlight all of it. Once again, I'm going to do Command D to duplicate it. And I want these to be side by side so they're nice and easy for teachers to cut. Don't need any space in between. That is not perfectly lined up, so we're gonna try that again. Ugh. Why is it not lining up? I'm getting the red line, but no, that is not lined up. No, what is going on? Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move this one over just a little bit. We're gonna try again, duplicate. Let's line it up with the top. Nope, that's not lined up. That's still not perfect. These are the struggles of creating. Okay, I'm zooming in to make it a little bit easier. So let's, wow. This is really not liking me today.
This office will not be using any new technology ever.
Okay, finally got it. Got it aligned. We're gonna zoom back out. And now I'm gonna click and drag to highlight all of those, duplicate it, and now I'm gonna line it up underneath, hopefully easily. The issue is my text box is up higher than my actual rectangle, so it's not wanting to line up perfectly. All right, let's zoom in. Nope, not that far. Let's zoom back out. Let's go just 100%, that's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna click and drag, highlight those. Let's go up a little bit. All right, that's good. Now I need to just repeat this process until I have them filling up the page. Let's go one more. Okay, that's all I'm gonna be able to fit, so I'm gonna zoom out. I like to have things like very well centered on the page, so I'm gonna click and drag to highlight all of them, and I'm now going to use those red lines to align it centered. Looking good. The last thing I need to make sure I insert, and this would be on any page of my product, is my copyright information. So I'm gonna zoom in at the bottom. I'm gonna zoom in twice. There we go. And I'm gonna add a small text box in the bottom corner, and I'm going to add my store name, so Pocketful of Primary. I'm gonna come up to Insert Special Characters. I'm gonna type in copyright, there's the little C. And then I'm going to put the year that I'm creating it, so 2022. And actually I'm gonna add my LLC at the end. Okay, I can make this pretty small. Let's go like size 5. And then we're gonna make this Poppins light. And let's align it to the right and down. So when I drag it, so it's right at the bottom of the page. This way, people aren't supposed to share resources, but sometimes they do. If someone finds, you know, a copy of this sitting on the copier and they're like, oh, that's cute, where did you find that? You got my copyright information. It also prevents people from stealing your design. It just helps to protect you. So there we go. We now have the product created. Once again, you can make this as fancy as you want, as many pages. This is just an example. Step number 3 is to add directions. This is where we get into what differentiates your product from just a resource you use in your classroom. If you are creating this for other teachers to use, you need to make sure that you give them directions on how to do that. Depending on what you're creating, that might include a lesson plan or just pictures and text to kind of explain how to use it. So I'm going to add another slide, and I just want a blank slide. I'm gonna put this actually before the product, that way they see the directions first and hopefully read them. And I always like to have a border around the edge, so I'm gonna insert in my rectangle, And this time I want it to be a specific size. So I'm gonna go to format options. Let's go to size and rotation. If my whole screen is 8.5, I want it to be like 8 inches by 10.5. That way I can have a 1/4 inch on each side. I'm gonna center it. And once again, I want transparent fill, black outline, and a 4 thickness. And then you all know I love my black bar at the top, so I'm gonna actually just duplicate this shape, drag it down a little bit. We'll make it about there. If I want to, I can go back to format and make it exactly, like maybe I want it 1.5 inches. Let's go 1.25. Yeah. I'm gonna fill it black this time, and then I can either add in another text box or I can right click and choose edit text. And we're gonna just type directions. You can't see it because the text is currently black, but we're gonna highlight it, change it to white. And y'all, I'm going fast. Keep in mind with YouTube videos, you can pause at any time, go back, rewatch. You even can change the playback speed so it can be slower if you need it to be. Let's go at black on this, and we want it centered both ways. And let's just start at 40. Yeah, we can go bigger. Let's go like 60. That looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm gonna type in my directions, and it's helpful to have a picture. So once again, on my computer, I already have a picture of the birthday cup. This is what my actual label looks like. I just created, a fake one for this video, but I'm gonna insert in this picture, and we're gonna resize it. I don't need it that big. I want it to almost take up like half of the width. That looks pretty good. So I've got my picture. I now can add in text box, and this is where I'm gonna type in my directions. So let's go size like 20 so it's nice and easy to read. So these happy birthday cup tags were designed to be printed, cut apart, and attached to a plastic coffee cup and given to students to celebrate their birthday. You can fill the cup with any candy or small trinkets that your students might like. Cool, okay. I would continue on the directions for the sake of this video, like you get it. I'm adding in just some descriptions of what teachers are gonna do. I might list what materials they need, so on and so forth, but you get the point. I want that same copyright information on the direction page, so I'm gonna come back here, copy that text box, paste it. Okay, good to go. I've got, what would be my directions if I actually finished it. I've got my product. I'm ready for the next step. Step 4 is to create a credits/terms of use page. Now you can combine these into a single page, that's what I do, or you can have one page for your credits and one page for your terms of use. Just make sure that you have both included in your product. It is helpful to have a template for this that you can just reuse for each product. Same thing for the directions page. I have a terms of use/credits page created that I just insert into each product and then customize based on that product. But just to kind of show you what to do, I'm going to duplicate my direction slide. So I'm gonna right click and choose duplicate, or Command D or Control D. And I want this to go after the product. So I'm gonna drag it down. And this page would say terms of use. I'm gonna delete this picture. I always like to start off by just thanking people for purchasing my product. So thank you so much for purchasing this product. I truly hope that it will fit your needs and help make your life easier. So just write a little message to them, thanking them for your product. Then you need to share what they're able to use the product for. So basically what's allowed and what's not allowed.
Learn your rules rules. You better learn your rules.
It is helpful for this to kind of look at other terms of use and credit pages that other sellers have created. That way you can see like what it should generally look like. So just to show you, if we go back to that clip art, you can see on here she has her terms of use very clearly laid out, do's, don'ts, all of that jazz. I'm gonna actually show you kind of my credit page just so you have an idea of what it should look like. So once again, I start by thanking them. I tell them that they can contact me at my email. I have my terms of use. So by purchasing or downloading this electronic file, you agree to the following terms of use. This is for single classroom use only, meaning you can't share this with other teachers. It cannot be shared without purchasing additional licenses. It may not be copied, edited, or resold in any form without permission from the author. Violations are subject to the penalties of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Please email me with any questions. Then I mentioned credit. So you will notice I have this spot down here for adding in the credits for any fonts, clip art, or other images that I have added into my product that I need to credit the original author for. So you will notice within this Balloons freebie, she has her button. This is her logo. So I would need to insert this in to my product, and I would need to link it to her store. So I'm gonna go ahead and insert it down at the bottom, kind of roughly where, you know, looking back at my credit page, it was down there, because for the sake of this video, I don't want to recreate this, but I do want to link it. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can go ahead and link it on the slide, and then when we export it, it will already be linked, or you can link it after you export it. But regardless, I'm gonna go ahead and link it on the slides just to show you. I'm going to click it, come up here to the link button, and then I can paste the link to her store. So I'm going to open up another tab, go to Teachers Pay Teachers. And because I recently downloaded this, I can go to my purchases, and it's going to be the top one there. Okay, so here is that product. I'm gonna go ahead and click her store name so that it takes me directly to her store. And then I'm going to copy that URL, come back to my slide, paste it, and choose apply. That way, anyone who downloads my resource, if they're like, oh, I really like that clip art, where did it come from? They can click and go directly to her store. Also on this page, you may want to consider linking to your social medias or recommending other products that are similar. It's up to you, but create your credits and terms of use page as a template and then just reuse it in every product. Now we're ready for step number 5, which is to flatten and secure your product. There are several different ways that you can do this. I'm going to show you 2 basic ways, but the reason you want to do this is number 1, in order to follow the terms of use for any clip art you are using, most clip artists require that you flatten your resource so that that clip art image cannot be lifted and copied by other people. Plus, you also want to make sure that you protect your work. So the first way that you can actually flatten and secure your resource is by saving these slides as images and reinserting them into a new set of Google Slides. So in order to do that, I'm gonna come up here to File, choose Download, and then notice I can save as a JPEG or PNG, but it's only gonna save my current slide. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this slide as a JPEG image. It's going to download. I would have to repeat that for each of my slides. So I'm gonna select the second one, File, Download, JPEG image, and then select the third slide, File, Download, JPEG image. Depending on how many pages you have, that can be very time consuming. So another option for you would be to go to File, Download, choose PDF. This is going to save the entire set of slides as one PDF document. Then you can open that PDF and you can export the entire thing as images, and it will save each one. So I'm actually going to, instead of opening it here in my browser, I'm gonna go to my downloads and I'm going to open the PDF in Adobe Acrobat. That way I can show you exactly how to save it. Now that I've opened it, I can go to File, Export to, Image, choose JPEG. It's gonna ask me for the location of where I want to save it. Just to kind of differentiate, let's go to my desktop. And I can go ahead and give this a name. So birthday tags, hit save. And it's now going to save each page as its own image. So that's a little bit faster if you have multiple pages. I'm gonna go ahead and close out of the PDF. Now that I have the slides as images, I need to recombine them into a file. So once again, a couple of different ways you can do this. I can create a new set of Google Slides. So I can either just make a duplicate of this one or go to new presentation. I'm gonna open up just a full new set of slides. Once again, I need to change the page layout. And there are faster ways to do this. I can touch on that in other videos, but for now, I'm just gonna show you kind of the slow way around. I'm gonna delete this, and I have 3 pages, so I'm gonna have 3 slides. And I can now set it as the background. So I'm gonna go to choose background, choose image. I'm going to upload those images. So my first one was my directions, open. It's going to set it as the background. So once I have repeated that step for all of the slides in my document, I now can export the slides, once again, by going to File, Download as a single PDF. Now all of the images are flat, just to kind of show you what that looks like. I can now open up that PDF, and if I click, I can't like copy any of the images. It's basically all one big image. But you will notice the quality, not the best, a little bit blurry, and that's because of inserting it into Google Slides. So that is not my favorite way to do it. Instead, I like to go to Adobe Acrobat, create a PDF from multiple files. I'm going to combine files into a single PDF, choose next, and then I can add the files. So I'm gonna go to those images on my desktop that I already downloaded. I'm gonna click and drag to select all of them, choose add files, combine files, and it's going to save them as a single PDF. And you will notice it is much clearer, not as blurry, but once again, I can't like click and drag any of the images because it is all saved as one single image. So that's just the flattening part. Now I need to actually secure my document. And again, this depends on the terms of use of the images that you're using, but I always like to add as much protection as possible. So within Adobe Acrobat, I'm gonna come over here to Protect. I'm gonna come up to Encrypt, click the drop down, Encrypt with password. And I don't want to require a password to open the document, just to edit. So I'm going to restrict the editing, but I still want them to print. So I'm going to change this to high resolution, and I'm then going to add a password. So for now, I'm just going to do password 123, click OK, and it's going to make me enter it again. Password 123, click OK. And now when I save this as a PDF, so let's do, yeah, desktop is fine. And we're gonna call this birthday tags, click save. You will notice it now says secured up at the top. So it is now password protected. But we're still not done. Step number 6 is to create the cover and thumbnail images. So in order to post a product on TPT, you need the little preview images. You can have those pulled directly from the product itself. Once you upload it, it will give you that option. But it's actually better to have square images because it's gonna fill up more of the space. So I'm gonna close out of the PDF. I'm gonna come back to Google Slides. I'm going to create a new set of slides, but this time, instead of reformatting the size to be an 8.5 by 11, I'm gonna come to page setup, and I'm going to make it a square. So personally, 10 by 10 will work. We'll just do 10 inches by 10 inches. And I now have a square where I can design the cover. I'm also going to create 3 different thumbnail images in order to show what is in my product. You can make these as fancy as you want. Once again, you can look at other sellers to kind of get ideas, but you do want your covers to mostly all follow the same general theme and kind of have a similar design so people look at them and recognize that it's yours. So I'm just gonna show you really quickly what this would kind of look like, but I might come back to my original product and take this rectangle and put it on here, and then I can just kind of resize it to take up my square, because I always like to have that border. I'm gonna center it, okay. I'm gonna come back, maybe I want this rectangle as well. Paste that, we'll drag it over, and this might say, birthday. We'll make it a little bit bigger. Okay. I might add a new text box that says cup tags. And we're gonna make this Poppins, and we'll do light, and we'll do size, I don't know, 80. Okay, looking good. I wanna center this. I might add in a picture of the tag so that they know what they look like. So let's go to those images that we downloaded, maybe put this down here. Okay, let's crop off that top bit of white. Okay, that looks good. I might put it centered, so on and so forth. I'm gonna design all of the images and I'm going to export them as images when I'm done by going to File, Download, JPEG image, and I will have my cover and my thumbnails. Step number 7 is technically optional, but it is recommended. You're gonna create a product preview. So on Teachers Pay Teachers, a lot of products will have the option for you to click preview, and it will open up a PDF or an image for you to kind of get a closer look at the product. A really easy way to do this is to take your initial product that you had and just add the word preview over it. That's gonna prevent people from actually stealing any of the information, but they kind of get a glimpse, if you will. So you can just add a text box, type the word preview. Actually, let's go all caps. I might make this Poppins. And of course, there are fancier ways to do this, but this is just kind of an easy way. I might make it gray. And let's go size like 100. No, even bigger. Let's go 150. Yeah. Now I'm going to twist and turn it so that it's kind of going diagonal. And I'm going to set this on my slide. Okay, that way it's kind of showing what's behind it, but it's still covering it. And then I can just copy and paste this onto each of the slides. And then I'm gonna follow those same steps as before in order to export it as a PDF. And that's what I would then upload to TPT. Which brings us to the final step, step number 8, which is to upload your product to Teachers Pay Teachers. I did show this a little bit in my last video, but when you go to upload a product, it literally walks you through it step by step. It will show you exactly where to upload the product, where to upload the cover and thumbnails, where to upload the preview. You will have to type in a product description, add in your tags, and then you finally have a product posted. So obviously I kind of like skipped over some steps because you have to find the style that works for you. Everyone is different, but I wanted to give you the general flow of how to create a product, all the things that go into it, how to secure it. As you can tell, it's a lot more work than it may seem when you create something for your classroom. But if you spend the time and the energy creating high quality products, trust me, they will sell.
I sell her those carrots.
Now, the next video in this mini series is going to be a vlog, and I'm gonna show kind of behind the scenes of me actually creating a product for my store. So you will get a much more detailed look at how I go about things and kind of my design flow, what works for me. I'll share some of my time-saving tips and tricks because it is very time consuming to create a product, but you can make it easier and faster. So if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you do not miss any future videos. As always, thank you for watching. I love you so much. Don't forget to put your positive pants on, and I will catch you in the next one.